very
a straight up OTK warrior, pretty much. Yeah, this is a little bit different than the other one.
Yeah, this isn't your grandmother's OTK. This doesn't have Gorehowl in it. So
no, this is going for, and you know, surprisingly, it also doesn't have the it does not have the Molten Giants. So because this was played, remember, this was played at a time where you could do the Commander, and then you could play 2 free Molten Giants and panda them back into your hand and do them again. This does not have that. So I'm a little bit curious to know how this actually OTKs you.
Yeah, I am not familiar with this kind of OTK deck.
This is odd to me. I'm trying to figure out where the OTK is. I see the Raging Worgens. I see the Charge. I see the Inner Rages. However, those 2 by themselves is not an OTK. He could Alex Strauss you down and then OTK you on the next turn, but that's a TTK. That's a 2-turn kill. So I'm a little curious to see how he expects this to play out. He's got a ton of ways to deal with the board early on. He's got Inner Rages, Executes, Shield Slams, Fiery War Axe, Cleave, Slam, Blood Mage down, those Cruel Taskmaster. He's got it all in there. But yeah, I mean, he doesn't even have the Warsong Commander in here.
I love the idea of Nat Pagel hanging out with everything else in this deck, by the way. He's just chilling in there with some Cruel Taskmasters and Raging Worgen, and there's just this, like, really boring white dude just sitting there fishing.
Fishing, yeah. But can I tell you, though, Nat Pagel, to me, might be the new strongest legendary in the game. I have games that I straight up win because of Nat Pagel. If you coin out Nat Pagel on turn 1, there is almost no class. Actually, I think only the Rogue can absolutely deal with him immediately. And the way that the Rogue has to deal with him immediately on turn 2 is Backstab Eviscerate. And that is already a 2-for-1.
Yeah, you've just robbed the Rogue of its utility.
Yeah.
Like, just out the window goes 2 of its best cards for dealing with your minions along the way.
Yeah, and if Pagel already drew a card, it's a 2-for-0 because Pagel might have already drawn at that point.
Yeah.
But I've had a Pagel come out and stay out for 6-7 turns and draw me 5 cards.
Yeah.
Obviously, sometimes he comes out and draws you nothing forever and dies, but I think the trade-off is still fine because of the fact that either way, he soaks up 4 damage.
Right.
And so he's a pretty insane card. And this is actually the first deck we've seen that's playing him. So this will be interesting. I want to see if Nat Pagel can actually do work here.
Indeed. So let's get right into it for Game 4. Savjz versus Koyuki. Let's see if Koyuki can get back in this game or if Savjz is going to 4-0 Koyuki straight out of the Angry Chicken Invitational and go into the finals to face AP drop. Let's see.
I'm rooting for Koyuki here, man. Underdogs all the way. Let's go.
Indeed. Savjz is talking some kind of smack. I don't know what happened before there. But let's see what's going on here. Savjz is just going to go ahead and mulligan his whole hand.
He had a whole handful of answers, but he did not have the early answers, so that makes a lot of sense. And why do you always get to go second? I'm the rogue.
Question. Age-old question.
I'm the rogue. That's why I get to go second. Because that's how rogues do it.
Yeah. Having the Fiery War Axe right from the get-go, not a bad place to be, though, as a warrior. He decides not to equip it, though, and armor up instead. Considering there's nothing to use it on. Probably the proper way to go about this.
But Savjz is actually well known for thinking that going first is actually an advantage in almost every situation. So he's going to go ahead and say, "Hey, look, man, I don't care. I want to go first."
Truly, that's what you'll hear every rogue that plays well say that, though.
Yeah.
So, all right, just assembling the Voltron on that Novice Engineer there, making it go from a 1-2 to a 3-2. Thanks to Mr. Dark Iron Dwarf. But a Cleave is going to come out and end its in that Novice Engineer's parade pretty quickly.
It's short-lived life, which is, now what happens to Novice Engineers all the time. They just die.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, indeed. It's sorry, I really wanted to draw a card. Might as well put out a 1-1. Sending you to your death.
It's still a card I pick in Arena, but I don't often pick it, or I don't often put it in any of my constructed decks anymore.
I'm still currently running in my Rogue deck, but honestly, my Rogue deck has taken a back seat. I've been playing a lot of Hunter and Warlock at the moment.
Yeah. This is interesting here. He could shield slam this Novice off, but that feels bad because, again, it's basically a 1-for-0. So he's just going to go ahead and shield up and do nothing.
Yeah, well, the Novice Engineer is a tickle stick. It's 1 damage. And
Yeah.
if you can armor
Until
up,
it gets buffed.
well, absolutely. Which it's not going to this turn, but that armor is going to disappear thanks to the SI7 agent. And you swing for 1 damage, bringing Koyuki down to 26.
I think Savjz knows that armor is actually a very important tool for this warrior deck, so he's going to try to continue to clear that at every turn he can.
It has been so strange to see Savjz stay as high on health with a rogue as late into the game as he has been for this entire series.
Yeah. So here comes the Pyromancer, and he's going to go ahead and armor up and then shield slam. This will actually almost wipe the board because of the Pyromancer. He might even finish off that Novice with the Inner Rage, but I don't think he will because it's interesting to leave the 1-1 up when the 1-1 will just instantly trade with the 3-1. But Savjz is also just going to go ahead and say, hey, I don't even care. I'm going to hit
health, might as well.
Yeah.
He's going to Defender of Argus, putting 2 2/2s of taunt, one of them having a Divine Shield.
And here we go. He's starting to build up those creatures with the buff cards, and that is why those buff cards are so insanely strong.
Yep, Defender of Argus is still a phenomenal card, even though now it is a 2/3 as opposed to a 3/3.
Oh, and a Brawl. So that Brawl will probably be very useful at some point, especially because Koyuki actually has 2 of these. So he's not really giving a crap that you're loading the board up. He's actually kind of hoping you continue to load the board up, so I'm just going to Brawl them all off.
Yeah, all the while just armoring up continually. But his armor is going to, looks like, be reset.
It is gone.
Yeah, it's going bye-bye.
Goodbye, armor. So in the latest Mana Grind tournament, I played a warrior in the first round who actually went on to win the tournament. Interestingly enough, because he beat me in the first round. And at one point in our first game, he was up to 28 armor.
Wow.
Yeah, I'd never seen this before.
So
he played 2 armor smiths.
Effectively 58 health.
Yes. He played 2 armor smiths like early on in the game, and I had no way to get rid of them.
My bro's coming out, and it looks like that is not wonderful. Of all the ones you wanted to live, that is not it.
Yeah. Well, he can slam that off, slam jam, and then he can go ahead and kill it off with the remaining charge, which he held onto that charge for dear life for a long time on that Fiery War Axe. If you look at Koyuki's hand right now, this is kind of the problem with the deck that he's running. Look at that hand. 2 charges, 2 Inner Rages, and 1 Worgen. Now, I know he can do a ton of damage with that Worgen, but it's just 1 Worgen.
You can't take 27 damage with that 1 Worgen.
Yeah, and here comes the Peggle. I think we're going to see it go down. He's going to shield slam off that. Now, the problem here is Peggle's just going to die, whether he draws a card or not.
Absolutely. Yeah, this Koyuki just kind of seems like he's slowly bleeding out here with this warrior deck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is not looking very good. And I think
we've got Cold Blood. We have Eviscerate. Do we have Lethal? Yeah, 17.
Not
18, 19.
quite, I don't think, but maybe. He's counting it out right now. So he's got 6, 10, 14,
plus
18.
4. It's 1 damage away.
Can he play all of that in the same turn, though? That's 4, 6. I think he actually does have it.
He can.
Because he's also got the ability to dagger as well.
Oh, that's right. I didn't think he had enough mana, but I think he has just enough mana to do all of that.
So he has lethal, and that is
gonna
game.
see. Wow, 4-0 by Savjz. Gonna take out Koyuki and face AP drop in the finals here. I think we're gonna finally see that really strong rogue versus really strong rogue.
Yeah, we are, man. Turn 9. Whew.
GG Savjz. Wow. All right, so we just saw a very strong 4-0 from Savjz against Koyuki, who's a very strong player.
Yeah, we talked about, or I mentioned that Savjz might be the best Hearthstone player there is right now, and he really looked like it.
Yeah. Now
Koyuki never had to get out of that rogue deck.
Yeah, Koyuki got some not ideal hands, and as he was talking to Savjz, it was a true statement. Savjz got to go second all 4 games.
I can't quite remember, but at least 3 of them.
Yeah.
And as a rogue, that's a pretty strong position. Although Savjz would say he prefers to go first. So.
Yeah, because the coin counts towards your combo, and since that's kind of the name of the game, playing a rogue, it's just it's so nice.
Well, so the argument for a lot of people want the coin to be changed from a spell and a card, so it doesn't count as that. They want maybe some sort of a button you push that just gives you that mana.
Right.
But I think technically the stats that Blizzard has says that that's not a big enough advantage to counteract the huge advantage of being able to go first, which when you go first, you basically get to use more mana than your opponent every single turn, right? So, and that gap of how much mana you've gotten to use continues to widen over the course of the game. So I use 1 mana before you use 1 mana. I use 2 mana before you use 2 mana. And then like it's 6 and 7, and basically the guy who goes second is constantly answering the original 7 mana play with his own 7 mana play, and that's a tough spot to be in. So the coin being a card and spell, I believe, is correct because it does need to even it out in a major way. However, it seems very powerful in certain situations like a rogue, when you can coin an SI7 on turn 2 and things like that. So it's a debate that will probably continue on throughout the existence of Hearthstone, but I don't think Blizzard's going to change it. And I don't think that necessarily I don't think that was the reason Savjz won this match in such a deciding factor.
Right, absolutely. I know Koyuki is a very strong player, and I think there were more. I was just trying to say there's multiple factors as to why we saw 4-0 just then.
Yeah, I think Koyuki definitely had some rough draws. And I think basically he just ran into a rogue deck that is incredibly powerful. I mean, you saw on a ton of those games, the amount of damage that was sitting in Savjz's hand at the end was just incredible. I mean, to have as much damage as he had without having to have used it on the board to actually clear anything is, it's just a really great position to be in. And that rogue deck continually finds itself in that position.
Yeah,
so
Savjz, I don't feel like we ever saw an instance where Savjz didn't have a play on a turn.
Yeah.
Whereas Koyuki was finding himself constantly in these awkward situations.
Yeah, he had several plays in that last game where he just armored up and passed with like 3 or 4 mana just, sitting there.
Right, exactly.
Basically just threw that mana in the trash, and that's a bad place to be. Now, I will say this, Koyuki is a fantastic player and just completely got overmatched, so that really speaks to the power of this rogue deck, and here's what's going to happen now. It's AP drop and Savjz in the final. We're going to see these 2 rogue decks face each other at some point.
Whoever wins the matchup again in the mirror matchup is the one that wins. Be really interesting.
That's not that doesn't seem like very improbable to me. I think that's definitely a likely scenario, is that the rogues will come up against each other, and whoever wins that one, it's going to be game over for the other guy. So I'm excited for this. So this is good. AP drop versus Savjz in the final. 2 incredibly good players. Obviously, Christopher and Koyuki are also 2 incredibly good players, and we're really happy to have had them in the tournament. And it's too bad things didn't go better for them, but hopefully we'll have them back at some point in another one of these.
Absolutely.
And they, again, if you guys want to go check them out, they both stream twitch.tv/Christopher and twitch.tv/Koyuki0 is Koyuki. So these guys are going to go on to do more great things in the Hearthstone community, and really, really exciting matches to watch. I'm looking forward to the finals.
Yes, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with the Angry Chicken Invitational Finals.